Hey, this is Joe Hubbard from JoeHubbardBassVideos.com, and this is the first of 3 video lessons that you're receiving just for signing up for my email list. And I want to extend a huge thanks for signing up for my list, and make sure that you're checking your inbox regularly for periodic updates, which are pretty much happening on a daily basis over at JoeHubbardBassVideos.com. What I want to share with you today is what I call the 6 fundamental chord types. Now, there are 6 fundamental chord types that make up the primary harmonic progressions in both major and minor tonalities. These are a minor 7th, a dominant 7th, a major 7th, a minor 7 flat 5, a diminished 7th, and a minor major 7. When we multiply these 6 chords times 12 keys, we end up with 72 fundamental chords that we need to become familiar with all over the bass guitar. Now, when looking at the fingerboard blueprint, what we need to do is learn these arpeggios in both a vertical position and a horizontal position. The vertical position is playing across the bass in this way, virtually in the traditional positional sense where your hand doesn't move much. And then the horizontal position is where I'm playing up and down the fingerboard. And we want to learn these in every key all over the fretboard. Okay, so what we're going to do is start with the minor 7th chord, and we're going to apply this to both the vertical and the horizontal positions. So if we take a look at fingerings briefly, what we can do is we can come up with a fingering from every finger of the left hand. When you do that, you'll probably end up with 2 or 3 things that are what I call 90%ers. With a minor 7th chord, I like the 1, 4, 3, 1, and then also the 4, 2, 1, 4. This puts me in a 1 finger per fret position, and that gives me the best economy of motion to play these arpeggios. It's certainly a great starting place to experiment with. So we want to play these in 2 octaves. So if we start with the horizontal position, I'm going to play this in 2 octaves, and I'm going to combine these 2 fingerings. So what I'm going to do is play the 1, 4, 3, 1, and then I'm going to shift up and play the 4, 2, 1, 4 fingering. Now, the formula for a minor 7th chord is 1, or the root, flat 3, 5, and flat 7. So that's important to know, and it's important to understand of how these fingerings are actually achieving that same intervallic shape from a different angle. Again, the duplications of pitches that occur on the bass guitar create this problem that we don't just have 1 fingering pattern. If you played a piano, you'd have 1 fingering pattern to play all of these things. So the idea is we have different ones, and we've got to look at these and check these out and put it under the microscope and dissect it and then internalize that, so then we can play across our fretboard with impunity. So here we go again. We're playing this fingering pattern for our horizontal position. I've got when I go to play this in the vertical position, I'm going to take the same concept, same fingerings, and I'm going to do this in the key of F. I've got a 5 string here where this is really conducive to play across. Okay, so there I've got my 1, 4, 3, 1 fingering, and then my 4, 2, 1, 4 fingering. And then I'm playing that down. So you can see this one is played up and down the fretboard, and then this one is played across in position. Okay, now you're going to take a look at is the dominant 7th chord, and we're going to apply the same principle for fingering so we get that same kind of economy of motion. So what I come up with is I come up with a fingering that goes 2, 1, 4, 2, and then 4, 3, 1, 4. The formula for the dominant 7th chord is root, 3, 5, flat 7. Both these shapes will create that same intervallic structure from different points of the bass. If I combine it with my horizontal positional shape, I have this. If I then put this across in a vertical position, I have this. We'll do this in the key of F. And there we have both the horizontal and the vertical positions for the dominant 7th chord. Now you try it. Okay, moving right along, what we're going to take a look at now is the major 7th chord. And applying the same fingering possibilities that we had with the other 2 chord types, I'm going to have the 2, 1, 4, 3, and then the 4, 3, 1, and then the 4 on the top. And notice I'm just going to shift a little bit out of position because that takes me out of my 1 finger per fret position. In the lower parts of our bass, it's good to just adjust that in like a micro shift rather than trying to make that stretch. Some of you have bigger hands that might be more applicable for. When I'm up the octave in a higher register, it might not be such an issue because the spatial relationship between the frets is smaller. But just bear that in mind. It doesn't matter if I just move that out of position momentarily if I'm playing that fingering down here. So again, we'll take our horizontal position with the major 7th chord. I'm going to have this. I'm then going to shift up. And it's important to note with these positions and these shapes that we're playing that these are, notice that I'm playing a 3-string group from my E string to my D string, and then I'm shifting and playing a 3-string group from my A string to the G string. This is important to understand the organization of string groups, something that we're going to hit on more within the course material on the website, so look out for that. If I do this within the vertical position, what I have is I've got this 2, 1, 4, 3, and then the 4, 3, 1, 4, and that's all in position. Again, if I'm here, I might just have to move just slightly out, just a little micro shift, and that's absolutely okay, and experiment with that and see how that feels with your left hand. Now you try it. The next chord that we're going to take a look at is the minor 7 flat 5. Now the formula for the minor 7 flat 5 is 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. And the fingering possibilities that we're going to take a look at is 1, 4, 2, 1, and then 3, 1, 4, 3. If I put that together in the horizontal position, this is what I'm going to have. In my vertical position, it's going to be like this. Now you go try it. The next chord we're going to take a look at is the diminished 7th chord. And this chord is quite an interesting chord because it has an equal intervallic distance between each note of the chord. And it's built with the interval of minor thirds. Now what this gives us is very smooth and even fingering patterns across the bass. Although the chord is difficult to learn how to hear, it is easier to play across the fretboard, but we do want to take a look and break it down in a few different variations so you can discover all sorts of different options with the diminished 7th chord. So let's take a look at a couple of the fingerings. What we have is we have 1, 4, 1, 4, and if I went and played this in 2 octaves, I could just play it across here with that same fingering. And you see what I mean? How this is very conducive to a fretboard pattern and really not that hard to actualize. Okay? Yeah, I can split it up like I did with the other chords, and I can go 1, 4, 2, and then then shift down just slightly to have with the 1 there. So we've got 1, 4, 2, 1, shift, and go 3, 1, 4, 2. So that is another possibility that we can have, and then that is useful because we want to apply that to our positional shape or our vertical position here, where I've got that enables me to play that more in position across the fretboard. Now the formula for the diminished 7th chord is going to be 1, flat 3, flat 5, and double flat 7. So this is kind of an interesting chord, and it, like I said, it's a little bit harder to hear, but because of the symmetrical construction, the actual fretboard patterns can almost be easier than some of the other chords. Now you go try it. Okay, so the last chord that we're going to take a look at is the minor major 7th chord. And this is kind of an interesting chord because it combines the sound of minor and major in the same sound. So what we have for the formula is 1, flat 3, 5, 7. It's got a natural 7, so it's a flat 3 and a natural 7. So very interesting sound that it has. So the shapes that we're going to come up with is 1, 4, 3, 2, and then I'm going to shift up and I'm going to have 4, 2, 1, 4, and then I'm going to come back down and then shift back down here. So and then position, I'm going to play it across in my vertical position. This is kind of an interesting, notice how when I go up, I kind of switch off. So there's that little shift that occurs right here. I switch off. When I come back down, I can press this and grab that 7 with my second finger. So that's a little trick on how to get that a little bit cleaner and smoother. So what I want you to do is check this out and practice this in every key. Now you try. Okay, so now we've covered all the 6 fundamental chord types, and we've done them both in the horizontal position and the vertical position all over your fretboard, and I'm hoping you guys have done this in every key. Remember what I said, you take 6 fundamental chords, you times it by 12 keys, and you end up with 72 different chord types. What also happens is that if I then times that by 2, because I've done that in both the horizontal and the vertical positions, we have 144 different ways to look at these 6 chords. This is what I'm talking about. You need to look at this in its entirety all over the fretboard. So now what we want is a drill so we can ingrain this into our short-term memory. And then what happens over a period of time is that transcends into our long-term memory, so we really understand the content of these chords. You really need to do this because these 6 chord types make up the 2 major cadences in both major and minor harmony. So here's what this drill does. This is what I call the key regime drill, and what you do is you play all the different chord types back to back from the same root note. So this is how it goes. I do C minor 7, C dominant 7, C major 7, C minor 7 flat 5, C diminished 7, C minor major 7. And that's, I've just done that in all of the horizontal positions. Now you go practice. Similarly, what you want to do is apply this to the vertical position. So I'm going to do this in the key of F. This is minor 7. Dominant 7. Major 7. Minor 7 flat 5. Diminished 7. minor major 7. Okay guys, so that concludes the content for our first free lesson. So you know what I want you to do right now is, if you found this information helpful for your evolution as a bass player, then get over to my new membership website, www.joehubbardbassvideos.com, and sign up for the appropriate program for you today.